Today we are going to be discussing the PlayStation 5 once again, and yes, we are going to be talking about the whole power factor thing and the teraflops and whatnot, because there are a few interesting pieces of information that I feel as though are worth bringing to the table here. Now, I fully understand that there are some of you who get very frustrated because you're tired of hearing the leaks, you're tired of hearing the rumors, you're tired of seeing the titles change constantly, but I did promise you guys that I would do my best to keep you up to date with everything PlayStation 5 related, and the truth is, I only know as much as you guys know. I am not some type of insider, nor do I have insider type contacts. And even if I did, I don't know if I would come out here presenting it that way, because you have to put faith in people that simply you don't know, and you have to hope that they're correct. And what I try to do here on this channel is present things and make it very clear that I know as much as you guys do. I'm not trying to claim I know anything more, but I just want to put my thoughts, opinions, and my perspective out here. And of course, there are a lot of people who do not agree with it, who frankly seem to get angry at the things I have to say, and that's fine. That's the point of it, you know what I mean? Like, I put my opinion out there, there's people who agree, there's people who disagree. But in this case, you know, we're focusing on the 9.2 teraflop versus 12 teraflop situation with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. I've made it very clear that power does matter. We all want to see a leap forward. If you're somebody who's planning on upgrading to a next-gen console, who doesn't want to see as much power as they can? Of course, we all want to see it, and that's what we expect to see. However, what maybe doesn't matter so much is which console is going to be more powerful. Is it going to be the PS5? Is it going to be the Xbox Series X? Does it even matter? I mean, to some people, it's certainly going to matter. And a lot of people tell me, well, MVG, you continually talk about it, so clearly you care. Clearly it matters. And I guess you're right. You know, I can admit that. You're not wrong. I am talking about it a lot, but I want you to understand that I have a channel that I run here, and it's become very clear that a lot of people who show up to the channel and the interest they show in it, it has to do with having these conversations. So while I personally may not care that much, right, like if the PS5 is less powerful, I'm not going to be that upset. Like, I'm not really going to care that much. The same goes if it's more powerful, right? Like, it's going to be fun. We're going to have a field day with that, right? Just like the Xbox guys are going to have a field day if the Series X is the most powerful. That's all just fun and games. It's not meant to be taken seriously. In fact, some people who get really upset about it and get really emotional about it, I think they may be missing that part, that it's not that serious. We're just having some fun here, okay? There's a lot of real-world things going on that are really terrible, really anxiety, have people worried and concerned. And I think this type of stuff is just a little bit of an outlet. It's a way for people to just kind of get themselves immersed in other things. Just like playing video games. You play video games to get immersed, to, you know, escape a little bit. That's kind of how I see this. And it's not meant to be, you know, anything that brings up a lot of toxicity or negativity. It's just meant to be something that, you know, we can have some discussions, a couple arguments maybe, but, you know, we just, you know, pat each other, laugh about it, and say, okay, you know, it's whatever. We all have our opinions and our thoughts. It's just video games. I apologize for that rant in the beginning here, but it's hard not to. You know, I do read a lot of comments. I do see a lot of the discussions that people are having, and it is incredibly difficult to just sideline all of that and not acknowledge it to any extent. I'm not apologizing for anything. I'm just simply letting people know why we discuss these things. Anyway, moving on to the information. It took long enough. Talking about the whole power factor. Well, there's two things I came across that I find pretty interesting. The first comes from Komachi, which this is an individual on Twitter who has been linked to all of these leaks, or some of these leaks, where they are some type of AMD data miner or something along those lines, and they are linked to the individual who brought out that original spec leak that reveals a 9.2 teraflop PlayStation 5. Something they put out not too long ago on Twitter is AMD uses fake dev ID for testing to avoid leaks based on ID. For Navi 12, it is 69B0. Now, I don't know what that last part means, but essentially what this first part is saying is that, yes, AMD is aware that things will leak out, and because of that, they use fake IDs to keep people confused in case things do leak out, because the last thing any of these companies want is for people to have all of the correct information before they are ready to officially announce the correct information. So essentially what this is telling me is that, well, as we all already know, any leaks are to be taken with a massive pinch of salt and probably not believed until it's officially confirmed. It doesn't really matter which way you lean, whether you want to believe it, whether you don't. You always have to accept it's a leak, it's a rumor. Until it's confirmed, it's just not true, regardless of how much you believe it to be true. Just like when I covered the PlayStation 5, insiders talking about it being more powerful than the Series X. Yeah, I went in on that. Like, yeah, that's great. That's cool. As somebody who's looking forward to the PlayStation 5, that would be great. However, I always knew that this could not be the case. It could be the opposite. We don't know. We're not going to know. Hopefully we'll know very soon. But this is, somebody who knows this stuff coming out here telling us, listen, you can't take this stuff. Like, they use fake dev IDs for testing. So you gotta be careful with what you're looking at here, because it could be BS. It really could be. And I'm thinking that the more and more this leak is talked about, the more that comes to the surface, it's really starting to seem like the PS5 is not going to be 9.2 teraflops. But the other thing I want to point out here, it comes from Twitter user Titix, who I've been following, and I followed in the past, and I believe we mentioned this individual on my channel a few times. And it's interesting because I see some people looking to this individual as an insider who has some inside information, right? And I haven't been following this individual long enough to know for sure, or to be able to essentially come to my own conclusion as to whether or not I believe this person has inside information and is correct about it, or if they're just somebody making things up. However, I will give them the benefit of the doubt. I believe this is one of the same individuals where they came up with they brought out the rumor that they heard Guerrilla Games is working on a multiplayer title, and the last they heard is that it is a SOCOM title. I believe we covered that on the channel, so we're going to see if that turns out to be true or not. But something interesting they put out recently is this tweet that if you translate it, what most people are telling us is that it translates to chill 10 plus TF. Essentially, this is Titix trying to let us know to relax. The PlayStation 5 is in fact going to be more than 10 teraflops, and just simply not to read too much into this 9.2 teraflop leak, saying it is fake. So we have a little bit more evidence here, and we've also been hearing other people who claim to have inside sources saying something very similar. So, what does this come down to, people? Well, let's just cut through it, okay? It comes down to, we don't know. We don't know. But we're going to know. And so you have to decide for yourself, for those who care a lot about this, like I know many of you do, and we just have a lot of interest in it. If you're somebody who is feeling concerned and you don't like the idea of a $400 9.2 teraflop. Also, not to mention, it gets really confusing when we're talking about, is this being measured in GCN architecture, RDNA, RDNA2? This is where things get incredibly confusing, and why I've said in past videos, it's really maybe not best to go by the teraflop count, because until we know what exactly they're being measured in, we don't know. Like 9.2 teraflops measured in RDNA or whatever is essentially equates to 12 teraflops roughly of GCN, which is what the current consoles are measured in. So then that makes you think, wait, so is the PS5 12 teraflops? And see what I'm saying? Things are getting real murky out here. Things are getting real money. They've been money, but they're getting significantly more so. And obviously, I know I'm just adding to that, but again, I know there are people who want to have these conversations, and I'm not going to stop myself from talking about it just because some people don't want to hear it. Frankly, to those people, you don't have to click the video. I hope nobody's forcing you to click the video, right? Like, nobody's forcing you to come to the channel and listen to what I have to say. I do appreciate anybody who does, ultimately, but to me, this stuff is interesting, and so we have to, just as I will talk about the leaks that come out and the things that people are saying, trying to let us know that, the PS5 is going to be like 35 to 40% less powerful than the Xbox Series X. Like, okay, maybe that's a possibility. It sounds extremely unlikely to me. That sounds kind of crazy, actually. I'm also going to point out some of the things that some people are saying here or revealing that maybe hint at, no, this leak is not true, and you're going to find out very soon that Sony actually does have a much more competent and much more powerful console than people may realize. Now, I did want to emphasize here, and this is what I want to end it with. I feel like maybe it's just the best thing to do, the most appropriate thing to do. Just run by a few things here with you guys that Sony has officially confirmed, just like we did the other day in the video, but I was trying to, kind of back up the whole idea of the possibility of a $400 PlayStation 5 console. One of the things that somebody pointed out in my comment section that I actually forgot about is that Sony, when talking about the PS5, I believe it was during an earnings call sometime last year, they said that it's going to be a a console that appeals to like the hardcore gamer. It's going to be something that the people who want like the next best thing are really going to be interested in, and it's going to be for a niche market. It's going to be for a niche group. And to me, when you think about that, that doesn't really translate to a less powerful, more affordable $400 PS5. And I actually forgot that Sony went on record saying this when I was entertaining the idea of a $400 PS5. And so it just kind of really caught my interest where I'm like, yeah, that kind of does really go against the whole narrative of a $400 9.2 teraflop PS5, doesn't it? In fact, it sounds like it's going to be something way more powerful than that, and because of that, maybe something significantly more expensive as well, being like $100 more expensive at $500. So I'm going to end the video here because I don't want it to be too long. I do want to remind people CES is happening tonight. Sony will be there as well as AMD. They're both going to be talking about hopefully some significant stuff that pertains to next gen. At the very least, I think we're going to get some hints or some teases. One thing I will say is that yesterday, and I didn't want to do a whole video covering this because I'm pretty confident we're going to see it revealed tonight at CES. I could be wrong, but it would be interesting if it happened. It would make sense why this leak happened when it did. Yesterday, there was a leaked image of what seems to be the DualShock 5. I'll see if I can throw it up on screen here real quick. And it gives us the biggest look, the best look so far, and there's no doubt that's a DualShock 5 prototype, maybe even the finalized design. And I've been hearing some whispers and seeing some people hint that we will be seeing the DualShock 5 revealed tonight by Sony at CES, and they're also going to let us know when we can see the full PlayStation 5 reveal. That would make a lot of sense. That would be the perfect thing, in my opinion, for Sony to do at CES today. It's not too big to where if you miss it, you're not missing anything major, but it's going to get people talking, and it's going to start that hype train and get that ball rolling. So keep an eye out for that. Could be wrong on that, but we'll see. Let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. Be sure to leave the video a like if you did enjoy it, if you found it informative, or if you just enjoyed the commentary. Appreciate all your support. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.